All right, man, I want to do a quick video, and it is basically about how liberalism can be dangerous. And I know that a lot of people they hear these terms like liberal and conservative and all of this stuff. And when people think of the word liberal, they think of someone who is for all people and everyone should have equal rights and all of that stuff, which to a point that is true. And when people think about conservative, the first thing that they think of is a bunch of white racist people or a bunch of Uncle Tom black people who want to be friends with the white racist people. But liberalism is really not good for any country, especially in America, because the way our Constitution is set up. So, to kind of help give people an idea of what the difference between liberal and conservative views from my perspective, I may not be dead on or spot on, but my general understanding of liberalism versus conservative is basically when we look at someone who is a conservative is basically a person who says our Constitution was written a certain way. And I know that the first thing that a lot of people are going to say, well, the Constitution was written, black people weren't included, it wasn't written for black people and all of that. But the thing is that it was written in a way so that all people, no matter who they are, can be equal. So what our country did, and it wasn't liberals, it was a lot of conservatives. What they did was that they challenged people who actually upheld the Constitution and said that if everyone is created equal, then you have to basically be held to that standard. No matter what color, race, religion, creed, or whatever, everyone is going to all have the basic human right to have that freedom of speech, to express themselves, and to live as an equal citizen under the law. So what conservatives do is that they say, well, just because you are of a certain race and of a certain religion or whatever, you're basically going to get equal human values. Meaning that if you decide that you want to live in a certain area, people aren't going to be able to blackball you or kind of put you in a certain area just because of your skin color, of your religion, or whatever. Basically, what conservatives say, if you decide that you want to go out and start your own business, then you can basically regulate that business any way you want under the Constitution. Now, if you're going out and you're abusing that business or you're oppressing someone because of the business that you own, then that's when the Constitution gets thrown at you and say, hey, listen, you're not treating people equal. You've been treated equal by having a certain business. So since you're getting treated equal, you're going to treat others with equality as well. Also, what conservatives believe is that if you work hard for your money, you should be able to keep majority of your money. Now, if I go out and I work 2 or 3 jobs, plus I'm going to school to obtain a degree, and then I do obtain a degree, and then I go out and become CEO of a big company after I've put in all of the work, then I should be able to do that. And my tax bracket is going to be a little bit different from someone else's because I make a certain amount of money. And I should be able to keep a lot of the money that I've brought in. But on the flip side of that, when we're talking about liberals and liberalism, what liberals believe is that just because you go out and you make a lot of money, that it doesn't matter how you obtain your wealth, it doesn't matter how you acquire what you've acquired. It doesn't matter if you've gone out and you've had to work 2 or 3 jobs to support yourself, and you had to take night classes and study for big tests to obtain a degree. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is that you got more than I do. So what you need to do is that you need to pay your fair share and take your money and give it to me because I don't have that. I don't have the things that you have, even though I haven't worked as hard as you have. But I need for you to give your money to me because I can't enjoy the things that you have. And I'm not willing to work as hard as you. Okay? I'm not willing to go out and do what you did to obtain your success. So you need to give me a part of your success because we're Americans. Liberals also believe that we all need to have one mindset. So if you are a part of a certain religion or you have a certain faith, that, well, it's okay if it's okay if you are part of a certain faith, but you can't express it in a way that I may be offended. So long as I'm not offended, then you're okay. Now I can offend your faith. I can mock and I can come up with all of these ad hominem attacks against your faith, but you can't respond or have a rebuttal to it, because if you do, now you're doing it in the name of your religion, which is a hate crime. So so liberalism, as you can see, can be a little dangerous. It can be pretty dangerous. It's a totalitarian mindset. It's a mindset to where you have to think the way I do. You have to follow the rules that I feel comfortable with following. And whatever I choose, you have to be okay with it. You can't disagree with it. If you disagree with it, then now you're a hateful, bigoted person. And don't let a person be, black and another person be white. And if the white person says, well, listen, I don't agree with what you're doing, I don't agree with the life choices that you make. And if that person is white saying that to a black person, now it goes into this whole thing of racism. And if that's a black person saying it to a white person, saying that they don't agree with something because of what a white person has done, now is now it turns into that black person being someone who doesn't understand, or they've been deprived and they don't know what they're talking about, and they're an Uncle Tom and all of this other stuff. So, but the prime examples of liberalism is when you look at these communist regimes. Now, a lot of these communist regimes, a lot of people think that guys like Hitler and Joseph Stalin, even Fidel Castro, they think that these guys, that they just went in and just one guy, maybe two or three guys, went into the capital of the country and went into their government and just took over. They just went in with guns and they just took over. That's not what happened. It starts from socialism. What happens is that you get a bunch of people who lobby against others, who say, well, it's not fair that a person who is an immigrant can come into our country and make more money than we can, or have more benefits than we can. So you get a bunch of these people who say those things shouldn't happen. People shouldn't be able to say what they want or do what they want. There shouldn't be this division of classes. I don't care if somebody worked hard to get whatever. We all should be equal. We got people living over here in poverty and all that. So what y'all understand is that, you shouldn't have it to where there's only a certain amount of people, like the elite, who get to control and dictate what others should or shouldn't do. So anyway, what happens is that socialism comes in. Person says, hey, listen, we need everything equal for everyone. We need to provide something free. For instance, free healthcare, free education, and all of that. So people turn around and say, well, that's good. All of this free stuff is great. And what starts to happen is that this starts to build up. People start to get more on board. And they actually put these socialists in power. And then it doesn't stop. It's like the liberalism happens. It's like everyone starts to have this liberal mindset. Then it turns into socialism. And then over time, that socialism turns into communism. Okay? And if a lot of people are not careful, uh, when you look at Cuba, Cuba is a perfect example. It's been under communistic rule for what, the past 50 years or so, 50, 60 years, you know. But our country did not want to go down that road, so that's why we are a republic. You know, that's why we are a democratic republic. And we believe in democracy, to where people should be able to vote other people into power. We should be able to have that freedom of speech and all of that type of stuff. But it is under that mind frame of the conservatives, of how people are able to be liberals. Because if we're living in a liberal society, you wouldn't be able to choose to be a conservative. You couldn't be a conservative because liberals won't allow it. But the reason why liberals are liberals because conservatives they allow them to be liberals, and and it's because of conservatives and their beliefs that people should have a freedom of speech even if they do disagree. But on the flip side to that, to liberals kind of deny people of that. And what starts to happen is that later on down the line it turns into communism. So that's basically my view on liberalism versus being conservative. So thumbs up, like, share this video. If you guys got any comments, let me know. And let me know what you think.